For years, we've all been told that stress makes us sick. It's the enemy. But what if that's only half the story? What if changing how you think about stress could literally save your life? Okay, let's dive into some pretty surprising science.
First up, just a quick question for you. Think back over the last year. Did you experience, say, a little bit of stress, a moderate amount, or a lot of stress? Yeah, if you're like most of us, you're probably in the a lot camp. I'm right there with you.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This is a confession from health psychologist Kelly McGonigal. For a decade, it was her job to tell people that stress was the enemy. But then, she came across a single study that changed her entire perspective, and I think it's about to change yours, too. So, what's the real killer in this story? Well, the answer might not be what you think. It turns out, it might not be the stress at all.
The study that changed everything was massive. I mean, it followed 30,000 adults in the US for 8 years. And the researchers, they only asked them 2 simple things. First, how much stress have you been under? And second, do you believe that stress is harmful for your health? Then, they just waited and tracked public death records to see what happened.
At first, the findings looked pretty grim. People who said they experienced a lot of stress had a 43% increased risk of dying. You'd think, okay, case closed, right? Stress is the killer we thought it was. But hold on a second.
And here is the brilliant twist. That 43% increased risk, it was only true for the people who also believed that stress was bad for them. Now look at the other side of this. The people who experienced high stress but didn't see it as harmful, get this, they had the lowest risk of dying in the entire study, lower even than people who had very little stress. So the real factor wasn't the stress, it was the belief about the stress.
So let that sink in. The researchers estimated that over those 8 years, it wasn't stress that killed 182,000 Americans prematurely, it was the belief that stress is bad for you. That would make believing stress is harmful the 15th largest cause of death in the US. We're talking more people than from skin cancer, HIV/AIDS, and homicide combined.
This is a total game changer. So how on earth can a simple belief have such a powerful physical effect on our bodies? Well, let's take a look at the biology behind it.
So, the big question is, can this mental shift actually change your body's physical response to stress and make you healthier? The science gives a pretty loud and clear answer: yes.
To test this, scientists use something called the social stress test. And trust me, it's designed to be stressful. Just imagine this. You're told you have to give a 5-minute speech about your personal weaknesses to a panel of stone-faced experts. And then, right after, you have to do difficult math out loud while they harass you. Yeah, you can kind of feel your heart pounding just thinking about it, can't you?
Now, normally when we feel that pounding hard and start breathing faster, we think, oh no, I'm anxious, I can't handle this. But what if you saw it differently? In one study at Harvard, they taught participants to reframe these signs as helpful. That pounding heart, that's your body getting energized, preparing you to meet the challenge. That faster breathing, it's just getting more oxygen to your brain.
Now, the truly amazing part is what this mental flip did physically. In a typical stress response, what scientists call a threat response, your blood vessels actually constrict. And it's not healthy to be in that state all the time. But when participants viewed their stress as helpful, their blood vessels stayed relaxed. Their heart was still pounding away, but their cardiovascular profile looked a whole lot more like what you see in moments of joy and courage. And the long-term impact of this is just staggering. Over a lifetime, that one biological change, just keeping your blood vessels relaxed during stress, could be the difference between having a stress-induced heart attack in your 50s and living a long, healthy life into your 90s, all from just changing your mind.
But that's not even the whole story. The stress response has another incredible, built-in feature that we almost always miss, and it involves a very, very misunderstood hormone. Let's talk about oxytocin. You probably know it as the cuddle hormone, right? It's released when you hug someone, but here's the big secret. Oxytocin is a crucial part of your stress response. While adrenaline is making your heart pound, your pituitary gland is also pumping out oxytocin.
And oxytocin has some serious superpowers. When you're stressed, it's actually pushing you to connect with people. It enhances your empathy, makes you crave support, and encourages you to help others. But physically, it's also a natural anti-inflammatory. It actually protects your heart from the effects of stress and can even help heart cells regenerate and heal. This stress hormone literally strengthens your heart.
So what does this all mean? Your body's stress response has a built-in mechanism for resilience, and that mechanism is human connection. When you reach out to other people under stress, whether it's to get help or to give it, you release more of this hormone, which makes your stress response healthier and helps you recover faster.
Okay, so let's bring all this together. We can actually transform stress, not just by changing our minds, but by changing our actions too.
One final study really seals the deal on this. This one tracked about 1,000 adults for 5 years. They measured two key things: major life stressors, things like financial trouble or a family crisis, and how much time people spent helping others, like friends, neighbors, or people in their community.
And the results were just wow. Take a look at this. For every major stressful experience, a person's risk of dying increased by 30%. But, and this is a huge but, for the people who also spent time caring for others, there was zero stress-related increase in dying. None at all.
The takeaway is just breathtakingly simple. Caring created resilience. The very act of helping other people completely erased the negative health effects of stress.
So when you boil it all down, we've got two incredibly powerful ways to transform stress. First, when you feel those physical signs of stress, see them as helpful, as your body giving you energy. That creates what we can call the biology of courage. And second, reach out and connect with others. That creates resilience.
And all of this points to a pretty profound conclusion about how we should live our lives. The science is telling us that chasing a meaningful life is actually healthier than trying to avoid discomfort. So the advice here is to go after what you care about, and then trust that you have the tools to handle the stress that will inevitably follow.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time your heart is pounding from stress, what if you saw it not as a problem to be fixed, but as a sign that your body is rising to a challenge, a sign that you are deeply engaged in a meaningful life? Because when you choose to see it that way, you're not just getting better at stress, you're actually changing its very definition.